Thank you for joining us on this Thursday of the Word of Encouragement. And today we're going to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 1. And in this first chapter, we have tremendous encouragement about not having fear, but having a sound mind and having a deep desire to accomplish the will of God. And then the Apostle Paul gives some personal items at the end of chapter 1, speaks of the fact that he had some heartache there in Asia Minor and how that a couple of men had caused people to turn away from him. But then how blessed he was by having one leader come and be an encouragement to him as he is in prison. And he's in prison now the second time. This time he is very close to his martyrdom. And we read in verse 16 of chapter 1, "The Lord give mercy unto the house of Onesiphorus, for he oft refreshed me, and was not ashamed of my chain. But when he was in Rome, he sought me out very diligently, and found me. The Lord grant unto him that he may find mercy of the Lord in that day. And in how many things he ministered unto me at Ephesus, thou knowest very well." Here's a man that was an encouragement to the Apostle Paul, and you can see how Paul prayed for him that he also would be encouraged and find mercy of the Lord. And I believe that there are a couple of things that I believe mark this man, Onesiphorus, and how he was so different than others. He was not ashamed of the fact that Paul was in prison again in Rome. I think even Timothy was struggling with that, and that's what the first part of the chapter talks about. But he wasn't ashamed, and when he came to Rome, he came right to the Mamertine prison and sought him out, unashamed to be identified with the Apostle Paul. You know, friends, when we aren't worried about ourselves and what people think about us, and even about how negative circumstances around us may affect us, but we're courageous in identifying with the people of God and with the truth of God, there is a freedom and a boldness that keeps you lifted in that type of situation. Onesiphorus was, when he came, he was immediately unconcerned about the power of Rome. Now you got to realize Nero was the emperor, and I've seen the pictures of what Rome would have looked at like at this time. I mean, it was more impressive than Washington, D.C. It was more impressive than in many cities. It was an unbelievable place, very overpowering. And yet you can be free of all of that and encouraged and not fearful of the world around you when you put the Lord first. And when he came for the purpose to minister unto him and to be an encouragement. And because of that, I guarantee you, he was an encouragement. And so in this day, I want to encourage all of us to not be intimidated by the secular world. It's becoming more and more obvious. The more we identify with Christ, the more we take our stand with him, the more we witness and the more we work with people and are unashamed of our Savior, the more we're going to be lifted up. The more we're going to be a blessing, just like he was to the Apostle Paul. And so what a testimony, and may God give us that kind of heart, and I promise you, you'll be encouraged.